Your health is under attack, my friend, and what we need to understand is that it is from every single avenue that you could possibly imagine. But today we'll only be focusing on one of those. And while I would argue it is all encompassing, it does not incorporate the totality of the assault upon you and your health. And that, my friends, would be the focus on metabolic health, which we will be tackling today as we have done numerous times on this channel. The thing that I find so interesting about what we see going on with the lies sold to us about health by the public health establishment is how it is that as they claim they're telling us what's best for us, we only ever have to spend more money on things like human health and services. As we understand, the HHS spends roughly $4.8 trillion a year on the fact of taking care of people because of their pre-existing comorbidities. Well, what we would need to go ahead and address here would be that that is in fact more money than the military-industrial complex siphons into its coffers to fund its forever wars every year. That is the nature of the crisis that has befallen the Western world and the United States, and if we do not tackle it, it will lead to our downfall. This is something that I think is so interesting, especially considering the lies that we've been sold surrounding the food that litters grocery store shelves, this ultra-processed, hyper-palatable, unfathomably addicting garbage that we all see, that we've all consumed in mass on repeat so much, and I'm not here to shame and lambast you for doing so, because I've done it just as we all have. But what we need to pay attention to is the nature of what is going on with the food that we are consuming, because what we need to understand is while we very well may just be going into the store to buy a product, you don't realize that in the end, you are in fact being preyed upon and manipulated by those exact products that you're buying. And this is one of the most interesting factors of what we see going on with the increasing obesity rate within the Western world, in the United States specifically, because, well, it would seem that that food that people just can't seem to get enough of, that they can't stop eating almost as if it's addictive, well, in fact, it was made addictive, and it's done so by the same people that made cigarettes and tobacco far more addictive during the time of the tobacco craze. And this is something that is so fascinating because we see that these exact same scientists were hired by the processed food industry to make the products that you're consuming more palatable and more addictive, which means you will be consuming a higher caloric load, which will only be adding more weight to your frame and assisting in increasing the obesity epidemic and the metabolic health decline of the Western world. This is something that is quite remarkable, especially considering the lies that we've had sold to us around things like cholesterol, as well as the process of using natural fats to cook with, because apparently these natural fats were just bad for us and they would raise our cholesterol and would cause things like heart attacks. Well, it would seem something quite fascinating has come forward in relation to the oils that we've all been told to use as the common cooking oils of the current day by that of places like the FDA that, of course, are lobbied by the processed food industry. Well, it would seem that the common oils akin to things like seed oils that are being used in kitchens across the globe, it would seem that they are in fact possibly leading to a surge in colon cancer in young people. That's right. Once again, we see another negative downstream effect of the manipulation of our food supply that we could not have predicted, but will only cause the rot of the insides of the youth of the next generation. And that is an absolutely unbelievable standard to have visited upon the next generation of people to walk this planet. And the fact is that if we do not feel it is our responsibility to address the devastation of what we very well may have brought upon them, then by all means, in any way, shape, or form, how can we even call ourselves someone that is worthy of living? Let's go ahead now, jump in and see what we've got with the explosion, apparently, of colon cancer in young people because of common cooking oils that have now been used within the Western world. Here we see from The Independent, popular cooking oils used in ultra-processed Western diets may be causing a surge in colon cancer cases, a new U.S. government-led study has shown. Unhealthy seed oils like sunflower, grapeseed, canola, and corn could trigger chronic inflammation in the body, the groundbreaking research found. Until now, evidence linking cooking oil to colon cancer has been inconclusive, but the recent American study identified seed oils as the possible contributing factor when they examined tumors from more than 80 people with colon cancer aged between 30 and 85. The tumors showed increased levels of bioactive lipids, which are small, oily molecules produced when the body metabolizes seed oils compared to healthier fats, according to the study published in the Gut Journal. As well as increasing inflammation, bioactive lipids hinder the body's natural healing process and foster tumor growth. Oils rich in omega-3 fatty acids found in avocados and olives are a much healthier alternative, the researchers said. And that is absolutely true, but I would like to make a clarifying statement. Avocado oil and olive oil, while they are fantastic, you have to realize if you heat them up past their smoke point, they start to break down and oxidize, releasing free radicals, which is not something that is the healthiest for you to be consuming. So what we would understand is that if you actually want to use something that has a higher smoke point, you would want to go with more akin to something like a natural animal fat, maybe something like clarified butter, which is effectively butter that has the lipids that have been pulled out of it that you see that get browned and put to the bottom of butter when you see it burning in a pan effectively, which is what makes butter have that burned taste. Clarified butter is the butter itself that has had the excess lipids that float to the surface removed. What we realize is this, along with beef tallow as well as something akin to duck fat, are high smoke point oils that you can use that are natural animal fats that will not be breaking down and releasing things akin to these free radicals. Anyways, back to it now. Here we see. Renowned physician and scientist Dr. Timothy Yeatman said that findings stressed an urgent need to reevaluate parts of the Western diet, including added sugars, saturated fats, ultra-processed foods, chemicals, and inflammatory seed oils. It is well known that patients with unhealthy diets have increased inflammation in their bodies, said Dr. Yeatman, who is also an Associate Center Director for Translation Research and Innovation at the TGH Cancer Institute. And what I find so remarkably interesting about this entire conversation that's now coming forward, well, it's something that's been going on in the back channels of esoteric health conversation on social media for quite some time over the past couple of years. And well, the thing is, all of the experts have done nothing more than malign and shit on all of the people who have been asking questions about things akin to seed oils and ultra-processed food and demonizing these people, claiming that these accusations that they've been levying about the excess inflammation brought on by the excess consumption of oils such as this was nothing more than felonious. But here we see, right as one RFK Jr. gets into the position of being the head of HHS, a litany of new studies and conversations start to unfold within that of the corporate press in places like The Independent, Today. We see it in CNN, ABC, CBS, and a litany of other outlets now having the conversation about the possible dangers of things like seed oils and how this could be having a negative effect on the people of the United States as we are consuming an unfathomable amount of it, with many people consuming roughly 60% of their caloric load being from these seed oils themselves. And you don't need to hear it from me. Why don't you just go ahead and listen to the head of the HHS under the Trump administration?
We're hearing a lot about seed oils. Why should people be worried about these kind of products?
Seed oils are one of the most unhealthy ingredients that we have in foods. And the reason they're in the foods is because they're heavily subsidized. They're very, very cheap, but they are associated with all kinds of very, very serious illnesses, including body-wide inflammation.
Right.
Which affects all of our health. It's one of the worst things you can eat, and it's almost impossible to avoid. If you eat any processed food, you're going to be eating seed oil.
Apparently one of the worst things you could possibly consume, says RFK Jr. And if that is the case, armed with this information, there is a reason why when I opened this video, I spoke so vociferously and intensely, stating that if you are not willing to stand up when armed with information such as this, and scream to the heavens about it because of the fact of who it is affecting, which are the most innocent among us being children, then you are worth less than nothing. The fact is that we need to realize the totality of what's in front of us here, the real problem, which is the fact of how children very well are on the chopping block and what very well may be this process of what we've seen with this explosion of colon cancer only getting worse as the generations go on. Because if you were to go ahead and just take a quick gander down your grocery store aisle, as you walk through the baby food aisle, I want you to go ahead and look at the ingredient list on all of those different companies' formulas and see what it is that is one of the main ingredients. What is it that is delivering a large portion of the caloric load to these infants? That's right. I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and make the guess. It's seed oils. And with that being stated, if this actually is something that is as bad to consume as someone like RFK Jr. is stating, and many different health experts, well, then by all means, we should be screeching to the highest of heavens about the awful and horrific future that we have visited upon so many children by unintentionally preying upon their metabolic health, by making them nothing more than people to be exploited down the line by the pharmaceutical industrial lobby because they will be wrought by health issues for the entirety of their existence. Finishing this off now, we now see this inflammation in the colon tumors themselves, and the cancer is like a chronic wound which won't heal. If your body is living off of daily ultra-processed foods, its ability to heal that wound decreases due to the inflammation and suppression of the immune system that ultimately allows the cancer to grow. But top US health institutions have clarified that consuming moderate amounts of seed oils as part of a balanced diet has not been shown to cause cancer. Well, as we know, the U.S. health institutions told us that the COVID vaccine was purely safe and effective, which of course, as we know, YouTube, it 100% was. If you get the COVID vaccine, you will be protected from the COVID virus itself. You will not have to worry about any negative ramifications or health alterations in your life. There are no possibilities for something like this to happen. Are we good, YouTube? Okay, phenomenal. Moving along now, here we see from today.com, no, cooking oil doesn't cause cancer, but new study links too much seed oil to colon tumors. The level of mental gymnastics and trickery afoot here is honestly unbelievable, and I don't know if it's the fact of the journalist doesn't fully know what they're talking about, or if perhaps they're just operating in a malicious fashion. Either way, it is coming out as malicious because of the nature of what we're talking about. So what we see here is, no, it doesn't cause cancer, but too much of it very well may cause colon tumors, which then makes you ripe for someone who's susceptible for cancer to develop and then overtake you and kill you. It's unbelievable that this is the framing that was put out by today.com. But at the same time, I shouldn't be surprised when we look and see who their advertisers are and who's funding them when we see things like General Mills advertising their cereal on an outlet such as this. Jumping ahead now, we see the question of seed oils and cancer started because seed oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, some of which may promote inflammation in the body, research has shown. So it's important to balance omega-6s with getting enough omega-3 fatty acids in the diet, which are considered anti-inflammatory. General nutrition guidance recommends a dietary ratio between 2:1 and 4:1 omega-6s to omega-3s, according to Mount Sinai. Both omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids are types of unsaturated fats beneficial for heart health. That's why the American Heart Association says seed oils can be part of a heart-healthy diet. Omega-6s are also found in the foods with other health benefits such as nuts. Omega-3s are often found in fish as well as some seeds and nuts. However, seed oils are often frequently used in ultra-processed foods which have been consistently linked to increased cancer risk. Here's what to know about the new study, seed oils and cancer risk. And then you scroll down, you see the study conducted in the lab found by the National Cancer Institute focused on the role of lipids, as also known as fats, in the microenvironments around colon cancer tumors, as we just went through in that piece on The Independent. So the thing that I would love to just go ahead and focus on here specifically is, here we see the American Heart Association says seed oils can be part of a healthy diet. And yes, they absolutely can. If you're using the right ones, they're not industrially processed and run through a mechanized filtration system and a multiple stage dyeing and deodorizing process that then makes them palatable for consumption. That's right. That's how you get the large portion of cooking oils that you see littering the shelves of your grocery stores when you walk to go buy the fats that you cook your food with. Go ahead, like I've stated, buy natural fats, as I said, whether it be natural animal fats or something akin to avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, peanut oil also being okay. Now let's go ahead and move on and see what else we have. From Scientific American, ultra-processed foods high in seed oils could be fueling colon cancer risk. Ah, is that so? Well, Scientific American openly talking about this, and with them being people who have in many ways in different instances filleted the processed food industry, it's fascinating to see how the heels have turned, and now this conversation is evolving to being something that people are openly talking about, the threat of what seed oils may have presented to our metabolic health. There is truly so much more to talk about when it comes to this conversation, and I highly recommend you go ahead and read more, and I will be leaving you with a resource that I cannot recommend you dive into enough. But just before I go, I would like to go ahead and say if you have any desire to learn more about this, please go ahead and look up Casey and Callie Means. Their interviews with anyone that's willing to speak to them are always phenomenal. They are both unbelievably intelligent, and with it can rattle off the data about what's going on with what's destroying our metabolic health better than anyone. Please go ahead, look them up. It will be worth every single moment of time you could possibly dedicate to learning from what these people have to offer you. Casey Means is someone who is a Stanford-trained physician and surgeon who left her field realizing that what she was doing was not curing the root cause of the ailments that she was fighting with a scalpel. Understanding that we are not looking at the body as an entire system, but at a very small level, at a micro level. And with that, we are missing the beauty of what the human system is, and because of that alone, we are not able to treat people properly. Thus, we are only seeing the health rate of the people of the West decline in a rapid fashion, which, as we see clearly, whatever standards we're operating under are not working, and we need to change something. Her brother Casey Means being someone who went through that of Stanford as well, and in the process came out to become a pharma lobbyist, and in doing so realized the nature of the evil behind the scenes of big food and how it was manipulating the government and the people to make a profit, exploiting you as nothing more than a manipulatable dollar sign. That's truly all I have to say. If you would like a resource to go ahead and dive into and read, go ahead, check this out from the Cleveland Clinic. Seed oils, are they actually toxic? Often found in ultra-processed foods, these oils can cause inflammation and diseases. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Thank you for watching if you got this far. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. I'm sure there are plenty of people that can explain where I'm wrong about something, and I'm perfectly fine with that because let's be honest, if you're not, you're nothing more than a fucking hollow shill in this industry. Thank you for watching. Stay lovely, stay great, and most importantly, as always, my friends, please go tell someone you love them. Peace out.